Hi, my name is Stephanie Isom-Farner, and I'm with Metastock Support. Today, we're going to take a more in-depth view of Quote Center, our new list management tool in Metastock 17. In this training, we're going to talk about Quote Center. It's our new list management tool. We're going to talk about list management and the adding and removing of instruments in Quote Center. We're going to talk about saving lists. We're going to talk about paging through the different lists. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different data types available. So let's go ahead and get started. To start our training, we're going to start in the Power Console in the Quote Center tab. In the Quote Center tab, you'll see two additional tabs here. The first one is Build Custom List. In this Build Custom List, you essentially have access to all of the lists that are available. Those that you've built, any of your custom ones, and then a list of all the public online data lists. These are built-in lists in Metastock. So in this essentially in the Build the Custom List tab, you can select any of the predefined lists, and we'll just select the Dow Jones Utilities, which consists of 15 instruments. Any lists that you select here are going to display on your right-hand side. And if you were to select the Open Quote Center button, all 15 would open in Quote Center, our new list management tool. The nice thing about this Build a Custom List tab is that you can build a list, which can then be saved later to be used in like our Explorer tool or our System Tester tool that can be a combination of any of these lists. So let's say that we just want, we want to remove these from the Dow 15. We can by selecting Remove Selected Instruments. But let's say we have a couple of instruments. Let's say that we want to add from the Hang-Seng Index. So we're going to expand that list. Oh, just a minute. Let's get these added back in there. And let's remove those again. Okay. So we're going to expand another list and add a few more. And you'll see any that we check are added to the right-hand side. And then let's go ahead and open those up in Quote Center. So you see now this list opened in Quote Center is a combination of two lists. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save and create a custom list. And this is done by selecting Save As. And we'll go ahead and give it a name. So just real quickly, I'm going to just click on the Manage Custom Lists, and this is another way of being able to manage the list that we already have, and you can see the one that we just created is in there, as well as any other custom list we may have created in any of the other tabs. And this makes it very easy for us to manage custom lists and access custom lists from within Quote Center. So we'll just close that for now. So now we're going to quickly go through how from within the Quote Center application we can edit, add, remove existing instruments. So here you can delete existing instruments in a variety of ways. You can highlight it and click on the Delete Selected Instruments. You can click on an instrument and hit the Delete key on the keyboard. And you can click on, also with the Delete on the keyboard, you can click on a list or individual ones and hit delete. You can also right click and select delete that way. And then again, if you were to close this Quote Center and you are prompted that there's unsaved changes, do you want to close it? If you were to say yes, this list would be available here. And it would be back to its original state because we closed it without saving the changes. So let's get rid of actually, instead of getting rid of some items, let's add some items. So we'll add Microsoft in there. We'll click add. Another way to add is to actually through our instrument search. You can type in a symbol and it'll add it down to the bottom. And if we were to click save, it would just save the existing additions. And if you hit the drop-down menu, you can see that our custom list grew from 14 to 16. From within our Quote Center application, you can manipulate and change an existing list. You can add, you can remove, you can actually edit an existing symbol by simply clicking onto the symbol field and changing it. Let's say that we'll just change that to a valid symbol and hit enter. It automatically updates and pulls in the updated data. Let's edit one and just put in something that's invalid, not a real instrument or symbol, and you hit enter. It does put you into an error state and indicates so with an exclamation point. And it says over here in the data access error column that it is an invalid symbol. So Quote Center is smart enough to let you know when there's something not correct. So let's go ahead and delete that. Click over here. Now let's say that you have a list that you've been working with, but you've made some minor tweaks to it. You want to retain your existing list and you want to create a new list. You can do save as and change the name. Click save. And you'll see that you have a new list in your drop-down menu. So you can quickly switch between lists as you see fit. So for those of you using Metastock DC, we are able to work with local data. And here's an example of a local data list. With local data, you'll see all the different data fields that are available here, the last, the high, the low, the close, and the volume. Something that's really nice about local data is actually tells you the source. So we support MS Local. We now support legacy data and CSV. Another nice thing about Quote Center is it will show you the path, which is the path on the hard drive where the data is stored. With local data, you cannot edit these symbols and change them, because if you were to edit them, they technically wouldn't work since it's referencing a data file on your hard drive. And if you were to try to add to your local data, we don't allow that either because it recognizes the fact that it's local data and it's stored to your hard drive. But you do have the ability to switch between local and online. So let's go ahead and close Quote Center, and we're going to talk about the paging feature that's available in Quote Center. In Quote Center, we have a maximum of 600 instruments that you can load in a Quote Center. And each page can handle up to 200 instruments per page. I'm going to go back to the Quote Center tab, and I'm going to select a larger list of instruments. Let's go down. I'm going to unselect everything, and I'm going to go and find let's do the S&P 500 or S&P 600. So right now, our list of the S&P 600, as you see here, actually has 601. When you try to load more than 600, you are prompted, letting you know that you are selecting more than the limit that we currently have in place. So for now, I'll do the 500, and let's load that. When you load a large list in Quote Center, like I said before, we have a limit to the amount of instruments that we can actually display on one page. And when we've reached that, I guess not limit, but in order to handle that large list, we've created paging. So here we have a drop-down number, or a drop-down for the number of pages that are currently available. To handle this list of 500 instruments, we have 3 pages available. And you can quickly move between these different pages by simply clicking on these different numbers. So let's go to page 3. And you'll see here that we jumped from the A's to the R's. And this loads the rest of the remainder of those symbols. You can also use the arrows to page between these different pages. This arrow just goes one page at a time, so we'll go all the way back to page 1. If you use these arrows right here, it'll jump all the way to the last page, page 3, and then back to page 1. Another feature that we have in Quote Center is the ability to sort. So let's say you want to see what the highest high value is for a given instrument, or which instrument has the highest high. You can click on the sort. I'll do it again. And you'll see that NVR Inc. has the highest high for the S&P 500. And if you click again, you'll see that General Motors currently has the lowest high for the list loaded. And let's just take a quick look at the different data values available for Metastock real time. We have the high, the low. We also offer bid and ask. We'll show the time, and the source will say online. And again, we show data access, whether or not there's actual errors or issues, and what those data validations may be. Like if you've lost a connection, it may show offline. And finally, we have the tick arrow, which shows if it's up or down from the prior price change. And finally, we also have themes, which allow you to kind of change the colors or the themes of Quote Center in general. Right now, we're looking at the dark theme. We also have our dark orange theme, which essentially is the same as the dark theme. It just kind of changes some of the text of the column headers and the text in some of the available buttons. And then finally, we have our light theme, which is very, I guess, similar to like a pearl theme. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the dark theme. And to take advantage of real estate, you can pop that menu closed. In this training, we talked about list management. We talked about adding to lists, deleting items from those lists. We talked about paging and saving lists and themes. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, please contact support at metastock.com/customer, and happy trading.